Hey everyone, Dave here from Push Kiting, and I've got the new 2026 Duotone boards right here. So we've got the Team Series Big Air, Jaime SLS, and we've got the Jaime. Three fantastic boards, and I thought it'd be handy for you to give you a rundown of who they're for, what their best use case scenario is, and which one maybe you should go for. I've also got over here the 2025 Team Series Big Air, and we've got the Jaime as well. So spoiler alert, I have already had a go on the Team Series Big Air, and that is a rocket ship. Incredible. This is the board I'm going to be using mostly this year. These two are fresh out the wrapper. I'll tell you a little bit about what's changed with them and whether you should upgrade. If you're not using a Jaime, you probably should. So it's funny the amount of people that have different boards, and we put them on Jaime boards, whether it's last year's, this year's obviously, a very similar board, and as soon as we put them on those boards, they feel a huge difference. They're like, this is incredible. And it's the same idea with the Team Series Big Air. Once you try that for your category, if you're the right person for that, it's an incredible board. So depending on where you want to go with your kiting will dictate which board you should choose. So by the end of this video, hopefully you'll know which board will be good for you, whether you want to ride in chop, go for a really big air, you just want to stop your knees crying, or just general all-round free ride. So let's actually start with what's changed in the 2026 lineup from the 2025 boards, starting with the Jaime. The beautiful Jaime. The Jaime 2026, Duotone's classic free ride board, has had subtle tweaks this year, a slightly refined channel layout through the base and a touch more grip on the rails, and a lighter layup. The outline looks similar, but the rocker feels marginally flatter through the midsection. So expect earlier planing and better upwind performance. Now the Jaime SLS is very, very similar to the standard Jaime. However, this has got a carbon Negra layup and a carbon fiber on the base. So what that means is, and the reason you have two different parts is, so we have carbon Negra, and as the board then flexes, carbon Negra can take that compression. Normal carbon fiber isn't designed to take compression very well. Then we have carbon fiber on the base, which is really good for taking that torsion, that stretching. That's what carbon fiber does really well, and then it will pop back into position. So you get a lighter board because we've taken away some of the wood and some of the glass fiber in this board, the standard layup, and now we've got carbon Negra and carbon fiber, which makes it lighter but also more snappy, more responsive. So it makes it stiffer as well, and that'll make it feel very different and optimize it for certain people. So the main difference between the Jaime and the Jaime SLS is the construction. So both have a very similar outline, both have tipped fins, both have tipped edges. We've got the grab rail on both boards as well. The placements are the same. So the graphics on this are pretty badass. I am a fan of blue, and this just looks awesome. That is a fantastic looking board. Possibly my favourite. Third and foremost, we have the Team Series Big Air 2026, and this has had some quite awesome updates, and I've had an epic session on it so far. The deck looks slightly refined. We've got channels that are deeper. It's more locked in than ever, and Duotone says it gives an even faster energy return on the edge. So here's a couple of shots of the 2025 and the 2026 Duotone Team Series Big Air, and with this board we have a slightly smoother channel. It's not as pronounced here, and slightly smoother deck all over. It has quite serious rocker from the edge, so that position there as it curves up, that's the rocker. If we have a look at the Big Air from 2026, this is the new version, we've actually now got a much sharper, and I'll try and get some close-up shots of this, a much sharper peak in the center. We've got our dual concave as well, again. So in this center section here, that disperses the water as you land, which is really nice. And then we have a slightly more pronounced dual concave that's really gripping super well. We've got a similar shape on the tips here. So we've got these channels coming up, However, notice the channels on here are curving, whereas the channels here are more straight up and down. So there is a bit of difference there. And on the tips, we have the flicked over tips, which are helping us to grip as we edge as well. You would expect this board to be slower because there's so much rocker on it. So again, this has got a lot of rocker on this board, and the 2026 as well. However, it's a lot stiffer, and we've got a sort of flatter center section, and it goes really fast and it goes upwind really well. Two features that you might not expect from a board with so much rocker, but I think being so stiff and having those channels, it propels you along the water really well, and when you come to jump, it's fantastic. So the difference between the 2025 Team Series Big Air and the 2026, it's going to be fairly subtle. I've only ridden the Team Series this year in overpowered conditions, and you'll see a few clips now. It was gusting anywhere from 30 to 45 knots, I believe, and I was on a 9 meter. I was extremely overpowered, so I didn't get to feel the subtle differences. I'm looking forward to trying a flat water session where I can really dial in. What I can tell you is that this board goes incredibly well still. Just like last year's Team Series board, it's my favourite, and this is the board that I'm going to be using to go as high as I can. In my session the other day, I was peaking 19 meter jumps. Last week, I got a 19.8 meter jump on that board, and then a few days into having this board, my first session, I got a 19.2 meter jump. That's on the Surf Wrap, so you can check out my profile. And yeah, both of them are propelling you off the water, so fantastic choices. I'm really looking forward to delving deeper into how this has changed, and if I can feel the difference, I'm going to ride them back to back. I do feel I was coming down softer and I was having faster grip, so easier grip as I land. Often in those winds when they're extremely gusty, you're going up and then you're dropping a bit, you're coming down sometimes with a bit of a harder landing, depending if the wind's going to hold you well enough. But even on the landings, you'll see somewhere I'm coming down from sort of 15 to 19 meters landing, and you connect with the water. Immediately, you're channeling the water and you're able to ride away with grip under control, which is fantastic. And you'll see on this video, as I land, it's instantaneous control and riding away, which is so important to give you confidence to go high. So my session on the 2026 Team Series board, I was out last week at Point Clear. A lovely spot, crazy spot, but we'll talk about that another time. Straight away, the first thing you notice is how much grip and control these boards give you. It locks in beautifully when you load up, and when you release it, it just fires you up into the sky. The pop is instant, it's explosive. Recently, instructor Paul, he's been riding the Jaime for many years, which has been a fantastic board for him. I told him to try the Team Series board, and he came back to me and was like, "Dave, you've got to stop lending me your really nice kit." He's like, "Now I'm trying to go big." He's trying to go past 10 meters each time he's out. He's like, "Now I've tried this, I need to get a Team Series Big Air. It's just going to get me higher." He said it just expels you from the water. It propels you off the water, which it really does. And it feels a massive amount different to the standard Jaime. The Jaime SLS is more similar, but the Big Air with the extra rocker and the extra features it has does propel you off the water. And as I already mentioned, we've got the landings, which are surprisingly smooth, even from big jumps, thanks to the double concave, but it's definitely a stiff board. It's not one for lazy carving days or chop. You want to be using the Team Series board if you're committed to getting big air. So if you're committed to getting out there and getting the biggest jumps, going as extreme as possible, Team Series Big Air. Now, I've always loved the Jaime so much, but I always used to steer away from it when I was going to do kite loops. The Big Air is a really nice bridge between what used to be the Team Series and then the Jaime. So the Jaime gives you all the grip, it's great for freestyle as well, but with the extra rocket and being extra stiff, and the lovely deep double concave we've got now, I will kite loop on the Team Series Big Air all day long and be super confident that when you land, you're not going to flex the nose of the board as you come down. It buries under the water and flips you over. This we can land rock solid and it stays with our positive curve, and you'll ride away from that a lot easier. So that's really important when you're doing kite loops. If you are crashing them going over the front, your board is too flexy and possibly too flat. So a little bit more rocker, a little bit stiffer is going to help you with those landings. With the channels and the grip that you get from this board, you'll be able to ride them away so much easier, so much more consistently. So the Jaime and the Jaime SLS are both fantastic boards. They've been the backbone, the core board for most people for many years. The Jaime is such a fantastic all-round board. We recommend that to probably 95% of the people who finish lessons with us. Unless you're someone absolutely ridiculous and you're going straight into quite extreme stuff, the Jaime is going to be a fantastic starting point. It's softer, it's more gentle, so it's going to be quite forgiving. You're not going to be trying to land any big kite loops when you first started kiting. So that is a brilliant place to get started. And then we've got the Jaime SLS as well, which is the lighter, snappier version. Still a good board when you get started. If you want to spend the extra, get the fancier looking board, and then hopefully be doing bigger jumps fairly soon as well. Being flatter boards, they will ride quicker over the water than you might initially get going with the team series. So the Jaime is designed for all-round freeride and freestyle. The 2026 version keeps that feel. Smooth landings, forgiving flex, which makes it perfect for progressing riders and anyone who just wants a fun board that still boosts. The Jaime SLS is then the Jaime, but on steroids, or had a double shot of espresso. I can't drink coffee, so that's... And you remove the carbs and you add some carbon fibre. So it's a bit lighter. So it's lighter, stiffer and snappier. You'll feel a faster response, especially when edging and loading up for jumps. And the SLS really shines through in strong winds or when you want to loop aggressively. It gives you more precision under pressure, but it's also less forgiving. You will feel the chop more and it demands better timing. So it's like having a sports car. You're going to get more from it if you know how to handle it. Hence why we recommend the Jaime for the beginner. If you're a very competent kiter already and you're jumping sort of 5-6 meters already consistently and starting to land them, you'll feel the benefit of going for the Jaime SLS, and that's a fantastic all-round board. So that's a general overview of the boards. But now, which board should you go for? I mean, for me, I like to go really big. My focus is going as high as I can, maybe doing some board offs and flips, and trying to throw in as many kite loops as I can. I could do that on any of the boards. I wouldn't be as comfortable on the standard Jaime, bit more flex, a little bit softer. I'm not going to be able to get as high. The Jaime SLS is going to be a really good option for me. I could use that a lot as well. I will be testing it out to see the improvements that have been made over the last year. The Team Series Big Air is my favourite board because that is going to get me as high as possible and make the landings as smooth as possible. I can ride fast with a lot of precision and have a lot of fun. So the standard Jaime, so if you're free riding, jumping or progressing and you want comfort, smooth landings and control, then that is your one to go for. I put my wife on the Jaime board, not because I'm cheap and that's the cheapest board, it's just a coincidence, I promise. No, that's because she doesn't want to be feeling every part of the water. She doesn't need that precision control. To have a softer ride, so she's a lighter person. She's definitely lighter than me. So having that more flexible board is going to be more appropriate for her. So my son, who's just under 40 kilograms, he also rides the standard Jaime. So because they're lighter, and because they're not trying to do big jumps or precise freestyle, then that is going to be a much easier ride for them. It's smoother, it's softer, more forgiving. They're going to be able to last longer in their sessions, and it's going to be more enjoyable. So the Jaime SLS, I'd say, is for people that are intermediates or wanting to progress to that standard very quickly. So we've had maybe 3 or 4 guys this year who we've done a lesson on the land, and then we've done a lesson on the water, and they are riding both directions. And then third lesson in, they're starting to do back rolls and jumps. And we're like, yeah, you're probably going to bypass the Jaime pretty soon. You could go for a Jaime SLS. They're going to feel the benefit of that fairly quickly. If you've been riding a number of years already and you're focused on jumping and freestyle, to whatever level you're comfortable with, then going for the Jaime SLS, you're going to feel that difference, you're going to feel all those benefits, and you're going to get up there. It will give you more pop, faster response, without going full pro stiffness. So I'd say it's the sweet spot between comfort and precision. I think almost everybody will enjoy riding that board, very much. And then the Team Series Big Air, well, that's going to be for experienced riders trying to get the most out of their board. We've just had a few guys who have got these boards, and all of them are focused on going as big as they can. They want maximum precision, they want maximum lift, like being propelled off the water, and just having a lot of fun. And you've just got to take into consideration that it's going to be a harder ride, it's going to be a bit less forgiving, but on the flip side of that, you're going to be landing more consistently, you're going to be landing faster, you're going to be going higher. And if you're coming from last year's board, the 26 versions aren't reinvented, but refined. Lighter, slightly stiffer, more efficient. So Duotone has just tightened up the formula, refined these boards. If you love the 25 versions, and I think from 2023, I believe, was when they introduced this Jaime shape with the flicked edges, the off-axis fins, then you're going to love this. It's a very similar feel, but the tweaks are having a big impact on how the board rides. So overall, if you're looking to upgrade, here's my take. The Jaime 2026, a great all-rounder and perfect for most riders. The Jaime SLS, a nice performance boost for those chasing a snappier response. And then you've got the Team Series Big Air for the next level of response and pop for all the senders out there. I'm a sender. Are you a sender? You should be, it's awesome. So I haven't ridden the Jaimes yet. I plan to take them out as soon as I possibly can, and then I can do a comparison between the three. What I might do is see if I can get an intermediate rider who hasn't experienced these and try and get them to have a play and see what difference they feel as an intermediate rider or beginner rider, and then I'll have a ride and see what differences I feel on them as well. I hope that was helpful. I hope that was informative. They're all fantastic boards. If you have any questions, comment below and I'll try and get back to you. Let me know which board you're thinking about getting. Are you riding a Jaime already, or are you planning on getting one? And don't forget, we go to Egypt every November and April. So if you fancy joining us, coming on our kite safari, living on a luxury yacht, going to the middle of the Red Sea and kiting in paradise for a week, get in touch. Dave at pushkiting.co.uk. All of our details are on pushkiting.co.uk for the holidays. And you can come for lessons at any point as well. I'm Dave from Push Kiting. Hopefully see you on the water soon.